Oh, hi. Right, just back home after a weekend away visiting fam, which was good. And you know when you're driving back and you listen to the radio and you start swearing at the radio because you hear like politicians. Well, yeah, that happened. And it was a shit journey anyway because there was rain everywhere, spraying. But at least I've got power at home, which is a change. In Norfolk, it seems to, well, where I am, it seems to go off quite a lot. But yeah, ignoring Trump and Musk's amazing salute of Nanciness. What else has happened in the last week? Oh yeah, Rachel Reeves, that's who I was listening to earlier. So she was talking about the third runway at Heathrow and how that's actually environmentally friendly because then the planes can land quicker. Right. So aviation emissions not really a problem then, according to Rachel Reeves. And God, there's some endless mantra that Labour seems to have adopted from the Tories about growth. GDP, which I reckon must stand for Grand Death Project or something akin to that. They're just constantly aiming for money, aren't they? Sidelining people, really, nature and the climate. Let's not forget we are the most nature-denuded country in Europe. And she seems to think that's okay by building more runways, roads and houses. These houses around Norfolk, I was in a meeting the other day and I asked, so all these houses that are on the plan, where are they going to be built? Like, well, they're going to be built on fields, aren't they? And Norfolk countryside is going to get full up. When I talk to local residents and stuff, they're all worried about their villages being consumed by massive housing estates and the lack of local services and roads and other infrastructure. So great, you want to build all these houses that actually locals can't even afford because they're all too expensive. Executive homes. They're not affordable homes. So who's buying them exactly? Probably people from London and the South East, I imagine, who are moving up here. And I can't blame them for wanting to move up here. Lovely place to live. But not really practical in terms of local infrastructure, and also just not wanting Norfolk to be eaten up by massive housing estates when we've got lovely countryside and, you know, some wild places that we ought to preserve. But of course, if you complain about stuff, you're a NIMBY, according to Starmer these days. And my friend Dr. Andrew Boswell, who's put lots of court cases against more road building equals emissions from building the roads, plus of course emissions from the increase in traffic. More roads, it just increases the amount of cars. So Starmer singled out Andrew, telling him that he's a NIMBY and that he's delaying road schemes costing the taxpayer millions. Actually, the right to legally challenge things like planning applications is enshrined in law, and the right to appeal is enshrined in law for 100 years as well. So Starmer's, I think he's a lawyer, he should know this. It's a bit out of order, really. So, it just comes back to politicians. I'm so sick of politicians not acting in the best interests of people, just lying. And the things they're interested in, no wonder people can't relate to them. No wonder Brexit happened, for God's sake. It's just fucked up, really. So, yeah, house building and Reeves. And the climate and nature building. The climate and nature bill was debated in Parliament last week. And there was a lot of hope for that because that could set legally binding targets to cut emissions, you know, actually hold the government to account and set some targets around climate and nature. But Labour decided that they didn't like that because they're already doing everything they need to, apparently. So they decided to talk it to death. And unfortunately, that bill, which a lot of people are really hopeful of, has probably been kicked into the long grass now. But, you know, we'll see if it can be revived or something else can come out of it. But again, the majority of the people in the UK, I think, care about their countryside, care about their native species of flora and fauna. And the government just aren't listening to them. They just want to concrete and steel and tarmac over the whole lot. It's immensely frustrating. And just exactly what are we leaving for future generations? I don't know. So, yeah, Reeves, growth, house building. Yeah, she was talking about sustainable aviation, wasn't it? Is this going to be the new buzzword, for fuck's sake? Sustainable aviation. It doesn't really go hand in hand, does it? Flying big fuel guzzling planes and sustainability. And of course it's, I heard the stat on the radio on the way back, as I say, I think it's like 6% of flights are taken by 10% of people in the UK or something like that. So it's a small number of people doing most of the flying, and that just, we need to stop. We need to rethink this. What else? Yeah, we talked about Campbell. AI, that was in the news a lot last week, and I was thinking about that. We've got all this. So AI, apparently, these large language models and stuff, they learn off stuff that's already on the internet, yeah? So all these stories and articles and journals and stuff. And who are a lot of those written by, and who has a lot of voice on the internet? It's men, isn't it? And who causes most of the problems in the world at the moment? Well, looking at Trump and Musk and Bezos and Zuckerberg and most of the screwed up countries in the world, I'll include ours in that. Who are they run by? Male figureheads most of the time, whether it be Putin in Russia or China or Argentina or North Korea, Belarus, the UK, men screwing everything up, like with this fucked up patriarchal system that just keeps. And even that, if you're trying to do the right thing as a man, you're kind of like screwed up for your upbringing anyway. So like this AI stuff, what's it going to learn on the internet? It's going to learn about all this history and who's been running stuff, and it's been men. So I'm a bit scared about that, to be perfectly honest. If it starts adopting the tendencies of men in its perceived consciousness, then is it going to really screw things up? So do we want like a Manai? Let's call it a Manai, or should we have a Femai, female AI? I think maybe one that's female orientated might be better, given the shit that my gender's caused for centuries, and continues. I mean, just look at reform down the road. I mean, Rupert Lowe in Yarmouth for reform. Every day he posts about immigrants causing problems. Immigrants breaking the law. Sorry, he doesn't say immigrants, he says illegal migrants. Now, a lot of the migrants to this country, they might be economic migrants, but a lot of them also are fleeing torture, rape, war, climate change, or just searching for a better life. And he keeps going on and on about how they're a danger to society, they're a danger to your kids, they're a danger to you, they're a danger to women. Now, there is a small minority of these people that will break the law. Actually, numbers-wise, you're actually far more at risk from white men. I hate to say it, it's not the migrants, it's white men who are the real risk. But Rupert Lowe, of course, doesn't want to focus on that. He wants to blame someone else all the time. The same with Farage, same with Musk, same with Trump in the US. They want to blame other people for the problems in the UK, rather than try and actually solve them. So every day Lowe's posting on his Facebook page about this, and about how these illegal migrants come over here causing trouble. Well, actually, maybe we ought to look at ourselves. Hundreds and thousands of young British men go abroad every year on stag do's and hen do's, I suppose, if women are going abroad, causing trouble, violence, drinking too much in the streets of Europe. I think we probably cause our fair share of grief in Europe, don't we, and other places. But anyway, that's by the by. Yeah, if somebody's done wrong, they should be persecuted. But these people, a lot of these migrants, our economy would fall down. I don't think Trump realises this either. I mean, his economy is going to fall down if he doesn't have economic migrants picking crops in the fields, or staff in the hospitals, nurses and doctors, care workers. Where my mum was, a lot of the care workers were migrants. In the schools as well, or cleaners. So, like, be careful what you wish for, Musk, Lowe, Farage. You could end up bankrupting the country and leaving people in a worse state because of it. And stop blaming other people for our own problems all the time. It's pretty disgusting, actually. So, yeah, I hope AI doesn't try and emulate some of these absolute arseholes, because if it does, we're in trouble. So, yeah, trying to think of any good news that happened. I did have a nice weekend away. That was good. Went to Berlin Gap, where the Seven Sisters are. There's nice sea there and stuff. And then, as I say, coming back on the radar, fucking sustainable aviation. Do me a favour. I don't know that. Oh, next week we've got the appeal for 16 prisoners in, climate. I don't know what to call them, protesters or activists. They're just ordinary people. But the appeal for 16 people currently in prison. Some of them on remand, like Noah, my friend, 19, very clever bloke, stuck in jail, hasn't done anything. Waiting trial, that starts soon. But the appeal isn't for him. It's for some of the other climate support, climate activists that are in jail at the moment, like Roger and Lucia and Lou, Phoebe, Anna, people that drug tunnels near oil refinery, all people that care really deeply. So that's happening next week, Wednesday, Thursday, down at the Royal Courts of Justice. They're appealing against the sentence. We'll have to see what comes about that. Of course, Labour had an opportunity when they came into power. They could have repealed a lot of the authoritarian rules that the Tories brought in, like the Crime Sentencing Police and Courts Bill. I might have got the order on that wrong. Or the Public Order Act, all these acts that have come in that make it much more difficult to have freedom of speech, much more difficult to protest about stuff that you feel strongly about, whether that by your local football club, your library closing, or climate breakdown. So yeah, that's happening next Wednesday, Thursday down in London, the appeal, and there'll be a big protest outside the court. Because the judge who was sentencing them said, we've done harsh sentences. This is on the 5 that have been sentenced to like years. Roger Hallam's up to 5 years. I think Daniel was 4. Then Lucia and Cressy and Lou. Hope I haven't missed anyone. Different amounts of time, up to years. And the judge said harsh sentences because it's a deterrent. But it's not a deterrent when we're facing calamitous breakdown in public order, in health service, in food supplies, in all the things that give us the comforts that we have today in this country. So sorry, Judge. I don't think that's going to deter people when our very livelihoods and lives are on the line. So let's see what happens next week, and maybe I'll do an update after that. But yeah, Manai or Femai, I don't know. Let's see. What do you reckon?